What's up, YouTube? So we're talking about templates, and in the last few episodes we created our own template from scratch, and today I want to take the template that we made and I want to show you why it's such a powerful tool, how much time you can save in your workflow by creating templates, and specifically if you're limited with time and stuff like that. So let's dive into the template that we made and try create something from that. So when you start Cubase, you're generally presented with the Steinberg hub, which shows you your kind of most recent projects and a couple of templates that you've made. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and start a new project using the template that we created in the last episode. I'm just going to select a folder for the project and then let it load all the instruments and stuff that we put into the template. So, this is the kind of thing, if you're starting a track from scratch, each of these instruments would have to be loaded kind of meticulously one by one. And each of those kind of breaks in the creative flow is going to slow you down quite somewhat. And I find, loading a lot of the instruments that you use quite regularly already in the template, it's going to save you from a lot of those kind of broken creative flow moments. So I'm probably just going to play around a bit here, try find a nice sort of key for the bass and stuff to work with. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and mute the mic and just play around a bit here. When I've found something, then I'm going to start structuring it and show you guys a couple of sort of ways I go about turning this into a couple of sort of main hooks, as well as how I break it down into build-ups and all sorts of stuff like that. Okay, cool. That's sounding good. So I don't even know what key I put it in there. I was just playing with the MIDI modifier and set it to +6. So I believe that is F sharp or G flat. So now what I can do is I can start going to these synth channels and introducing them with the MIDI modifier changed and seeing, how they fit. And then I'm going to go in and start to, play with these synth channels and try to create a hook. So if I haven't explained this yet before in a video, and for those who might not understand like the concept of a hook, it's basically like that sort of unforgettable thing in a track that's going to kind of differentiate it from, every other track you've made and every other track, on the market, so to speak. So this is kind of where I concentrate the most time, is creating something for each track that's going to be memorable, so that when you hear it, it's like, this is the track, or this is, that track with that thing, or if you're trying to explain the track to somebody, you use that hook to explain it. It's the track with the thing that goes like this. Anyway, I'm blabbering. So this is why it's important to have something like a structure in place when you get that kind of creativity strikes, so you can kind of jump in and spend the most effort creating that synth or that sound effect or that thing that's going to make the track memorable. Because let's be honest, a bassline, you're going to spend a lot of time crafting it and making it sound super tight, because that's the backbone of the entire track. But it's not the thing that's people are going to actually remember. It's the thing that keeps them grooving while they're on the dance floor. But it's that kind of little bit of ear candy on top, which is going to be the main hook. Anyway. Okay, so here I want to create something kind of semi-synthy, semi-sample sound effecty kind of thing. I had an idea to use a similar idea to the sound I made. I think it was the Tristan-style psychedelic drums. But I want to do it in faceplant because this actually has a really cool sampler built in with a bunch of really cool like built-in samples that can do some interesting things when you start to pitch shift them and apply some of the effects that are within faceplant. So what I actually want to do here is let's load up a... Okay, there is already a MIDI modifier, but let's change this to a step designer and then put a MIDI modifier after that and change that to +6. So the step designer here, what we can do is we can just punch in a couple of random notes to a kind of rhythm. Okay, it's a bit low. It's a bit low in pitch. So we can always change that here with the octaves, turn that down a bit. So here, let's put a random generator onto the pitch. I'm going to see which one suits best, whether it's shift or semitone, etc. Let's just play around with these. Wow, that's crazy cool. I really like that. So what I actually want to do is I want to create another random, but on the same kind of step or at the same sync rate. So what it's going to do is it's going to start introducing the same kind of jumps in randomness, but different random modulations. And I want to apply these to stuff like the sustain and decay. But what I actually want to do is let's set this to unipolar. So it's not going into the negative and positive, just one way. Okay, so I actually want to record that MIDI onto the channel. So let's just go ahead, press these two record to channel MIDI buttons, and then let it do its thing. So I actually want to chop these up a bit and kind of like span them out, kind of stagger it compared to the other synths in this part. But this is the beauty of now, creating this in parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this entire kind of MIDI recording that we did to another part, or we could just mute it just in case, and then jump back here and start arranging these kind of a little bit more sensibly in this part. So we've got some parts in there. What I actually want to do now is I want to create a little bit more of an exciting bass line that can stand as our kind of like main hook kind of bass section. So I actually want to create a new duplicate of this, just so when we edit the new one, it doesn't edit all of the bass parts, if that makes sense. And then I'll change the colors just so I know which one is which. And then I'm just going to dive in here and experiment and see what I come up with. Okay, obviously I still want to go in and like fine tune the EQ and stuff there. Some of those high notes are still hitting a bit hard and stuff. But for now that sounds good. With these kind of particularly more energetic and moving bass lines, I obviously don't want to introduce them, so quickly. So what I like to do is, I will create this kind of like idea and then I'll break it down from there. So for example, I actually just want to save it because I don't want to lose what I've done now. It's something pretty cool. And here I want to create like a breakdown build-up kind of section. And I actually want to use this bass line that I've created and then drop it back into the flat bass line, but with like the hi-hats and stuff like that. And then slowly introduce bits of this more energetic bass line, as the track progresses more and more. So how I like to do this is we'll just pop it in like that. And let's say, for example, use that effects system that we created in the previous templates episode. And here we want to go like from high pass like down, sweep it down with that groove, like slowly bring it in and then take it back to this simple bass line so that it's kind of memorable, and when it does come in, it's not like a completely new sound that's foreign to the ear. So here we can start taking out these kind of more sound effects orientated things because, you know, we kind of picking up the momentum of the track. I like to use these kind of more experimental things more in intros, breakdowns, where you want that kind of spacious kind of sound. So we can put it here in this section, for example, as well as maybe this synth. And here, I actually want to have this like acid lead sound coming in and then echo out over a long period of time over here. Cool. So the kind of never-ending delay trick I've explained to you guys before, but in situations like this, you know, I like to use that trick quite often. What I will do is I will put it onto an effects channel. But one thing you got to keep in mind here is that sometimes when you're not watching it, the feedback can carry on going, and it'll create like a in the background of the track. And sometimes when you're exporting it, you might not notice it there, and it can create all sorts of problems later on. So if you're going to do this, just always keep an eye on this delay channel. So let's just call this long delay in here and fiddle with these feedback settings. I want this to be a 1/4. Let's send this to long delay, something like this. And now write automation. And now we're writing the automation of enabling that send. So it's going to be clean up until this point. Boom. It's going to send that to the delay and feedback for a long period of time. So let's listen to that. About doing that is because I use this kind of like never-ending delays so often in transitioning between synths. Now I can actually just load it up here and then do exactly the same thing, you know, switching it on to transition this synth kind of out into the next passage, something like this. Here's another little cool trick when using these sends, is you can hear how it kind of doubles up there and creates a little bit of a kind of phasing thing going on with the echo tails. So here you can send which parts of that arrangement is being delayed. So if you turn the send automation down here and then up for the last bar, or the last part of this clip, it's only going to delay that. So you're not going to have that kind of like bit where it's overlaying. Does that make sense? So here I want to create more of a kind of FM kind of lead type of thing, less of a melodic, more rhythmic and kind of cutting. So not like a heavy FM, but we'll see what we can come up with here. Let's just remove these guys. Anyways, I'm sure you guys get the picture. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed that. As you can see, we made quite a lot of progress in not so much time. I mean, all we need to do now is create like an intro and build up to this kind of main section that we've created. And I have kind of explained my process for doing those in quite a few videos. So hopefully that kind of outlines my entire process of making a track from scratch. Don't think I'm going to be posting another video this year, so enjoy the holiday season and I will see you guys next year. A big thanks to IDM Mag, proud supporters of the dance music scene and my channel. I'm going to see how many presets I actually made in this project, and I'm going to post a bunch of those to my Patreons for all my $5 supporters. So if you want to know what that's all about, check out the link that's going to be somewhere on the screen right now. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time.